Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY projects, I've selected 10 of my favorite quick and easy home decor DIYs that you could use all year long. Now to get you started, I've included the full supply list with the links in the description box below. Now to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, I wanted to say hey, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you definitely should, so you can be the first to see hundreds of fresh and original craft ideas on my channel. So let's dive in and get started. Now this project is a pedestal bowl centerpiece. Now we're going to need one garden dish from the Dollar Tree. And we'll need one of these plastic bowls from a 2-pack set from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start by protecting the work surface and grabbing our 2 bowls. Now our intention is to bond the 2 bowls together as shown here. But first we're going to go ahead and remove those stickers, and then you want to make sure both of your bowls are really clean. So once everything is ready, we're going to bond these together. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun and my hot glue sticks, but you can use E6000 as well if you want a permanent, stronger bond. Now I'm only going to be using hot glue for this DIY, so I'm just going to apply some to the bottom of the white bowl and place that garden bowl right on top, making sure it's nice and center, and press it into place. Now while that dries, just go ahead and sit that off to the side, and we're going to start mixing up our paint mixture. So I'm just going to grab a little bowl, my little bag of baking soda, and my white chalk paint. I'm also going to be using some elephant and pavement gray acrylic paints to color my textured paint. So I'm going to start by adding about a couple of tablespoons of that chalk paint and a few spoons of that baking soda. Now our intention here is to go ahead and mix it together, and you want your mix to be a little bit thicker than like a cake frosting, but it's really up to you how thick you want your texture to be, and the thicker it is, the more texture you will get. So once it's where you want it, I'm going to start adding that lighter gray first, which is the elephant gray, and I'm going to mix that in. And then I'm going to add some of the darker gray, which is the pavement gray, and this should tint it to get to the color I'm looking for, which is the cement colored gray color here. And so now our hot glue is nice and dry, so we can start painting the bowl. Now I'm going to start painting on the inside of the top of the bowl, and I'm just using my chip brush. Now using the chip brush is very good for this project because those bristles are very coarse, and they will give your paint some really good texture. And I like to work it around in a swirl pattern to make it look more natural. And here is what it will look like when it's all applied. So once we finish the inside, just go ahead and flip it down, and we're going to apply this paint mixture to the outside as well. And we're using that same technique, just using our chip brush, going around the edges, creating that texture. And then finally, we're just going to cover up that pedestal portion, which is the white bowl. Just apply a nice thick layer to that bowl as well, all the way around. And we're just going to hit that last little spot there, and then set this to the side to completely dry. So now that our bowl is nice and dry, you can, we're going to go ahead and highlight some of that texture to make it stand out a little better. So I'm taking just the smallest little dot of some white acrylic paint and my chip brush. And what I want to do is just get just a little bit of paint on that brush and go around in that same pattern on the bowl, highlighting all of those ridges and that texture. Now, as you can see, it does stand out a little better. We're going to do the inside of the bowl, and we're going to do the outside edges of the bowl. Now, this does give it a nice natural and weathered look as well, and I'm really loving it. So now that this is all nice and dry, we can actually start styling it now. You can use some little flowers, clover flowers, or you can use succulents. It's all up to you. And here is my final project, all decked out with the beautiful succulents. I think it turned out so awesome. Now I love this greenery paired up with the cement look finish, and the texture looks amazing. And here is a version with those beautiful hop clover flowers too. So simple yet so sweet. Now you can choose your own way to decorate these bowls to make it a fantastic centerpiece for your space. Now this project is a wood onion grass planter. Now we're going to need 4 wood crates from the Dollar Tree. We're going to need 5 of these tumbling blocks from the Dollar Tree for the bottom, and you can also use some of these wood cubes if you have them on hand. And we're going to need 4 bunches of onion grass from the Dollar Tree. So what we first are going to do is take all of our crates, and I'm going to stain them with my Jacobian Stain by Minwax. Now once all your pieces have 1 coat of stain all over them and your blocks, we're going to let them sit out to completely dry. Now you don't have to stain the insides, but I did as well. So now that they're all dry, we are going to actually adhere them together, stacked on top in a set of 4. So we're going to start with the 2 bottom pieces that match up pretty evenly. Again, I'm going to use my wood stick hot glue by Surebonder, apply some hot glue to the side of one of the crates and press them firmly together, making sure that they're nice and even. Now to back that up a little bit, I am applying a couple of staples on the inside to hold them together. Now once the bottom set is all adhered together, we're going to take our top 2 pieces, and I'm going to add these one at a time. So I'm just going to outline the top of one of the crates with that wood stick hot glue right on the edge and place one of the crates on top, making sure it's nice and even. Make sure that you wipe away any glue that oozes out of the seam as well. So once that first crate is in place, add that second crate right next to it. And just sit that right there and make sure it's nice and lined up along the edges and wipe away that hot glue. Now again, I am going to go in with my staple gun and make sure these are secure as well. Now for the bottom, we are going to add the feet. So I'm going to take one of the tumbler blocks and add 1 on each corner and 1 in the center for support. Just adding hot glue along that edge and lining it up with all 4 corners as shown here, and 1 in the center. And now your planter has 4 nice feet at the bottom. Now this is completely optional, but I wanted to drill holes where my onion grass will fit into my crates. Now you certainly can add some floral foam into these and stick it in there, but I did not want to cut the stems of my onion grass. I really wanted to keep them long for other projects, so I am using a drill to cut a hole for each one of my onion grass pieces so they are easily interchanged with other pieces and can be removed. So once those are all drilled, I'm going to stick one of my stems of onion grass into each one of those drilled holes. Now this will keep it nice and straight, and I love how they fit inside there. Now I did want to add rocks to my project, but I didn't want to add a bunch of them, so I'm going to fill the bottom with some white paper towels. You can use packing tissue, newspaper, whatever you have on hand. So once that's done, I'm going to take some of these rocks that I did get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fill in that top layer of space all around my onion grass, and this is what it will look like. And now all you have to do is choose a place to display this cute planter in your home. Now I think onion grass really gives my projects that modern high-end look, and I love using them, especially paired with wood and rocks. And of course, these crates and these blocks make the perfect planter too, and it pulls the look entirely together. Let me know what you think of this project in the description box below. The project is a set of bamboo trimmed planter boxes. Now we're going to need 2 small boxes that I got on clearance for 25 cents from Easter this year. And we'll also need some of these 32-inch bamboo skewers from the Dollar Tree or Walmart. So we're going to start with those 2 boxes, and I am just going to cut away those ribbon handles from each one of those boxes. Now my boxes have a sort of glossy finish, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the labels, and what I want to do is tone down that glossy finish. So I am going to prime with my Zinsser 123 primer on the outside. Now if you don't have any primer, you can definitely cover it in white chalk paint as well. So once that primer is all nice and dry, you have a base to work with. And now what we're going to do is we are going to paint the box. So one of my boxes, I wanted to be black to go with my theme. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with finishing the inside first. I just love the inside of my boxes to be finished to match the outside. I just think it has a more professional look and looks nice and neat in the very end. Now once the inside is all done, we're just going to flip it down, and we are actually going to be painting all the sides of the outside as well. Now you notice there is that little hole where we had that ribbon. That really doesn't really bother me, but you can plug that up too if you like with some hot glue or spackle. Now, once that black one is done, we're going to take the white one, and I'm going to be finishing this one off with white chalk paint. Now, the white part is already inside, but the chalk paint is a little lighter, so I am going to finish the inside with my chalk paint first, and then I'm going to go and finish the outside with that chalk paint as well. And now that both are all covered, we're going to let them sit to completely dry. So now that both boxes are all dry, we can start to embellish them. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to go ahead and start marking it. And what I'm going to do is take my ruler and I'm going to mark down 1 inch from that top edge all the way around the box. Now, once you have your marks all the way around the top, go ahead and draw a line connecting those lines all around the top edge so you'll have an even line to place your first line of embellishment. Now, to embellish, we are going to be using the leftover skewers, which are about 5, and we've already stained these with our Waverly Antique Wax. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a skewer across the top right on top of that line, and I'm going to mark the length with a pencil, and then I'm going to start clipping it to size with a pair of wire cutters. Now, the end may be a little rough, so I'm just rubbing it down on a piece of sandpaper before I apply it in place, and I'm just going to run a bead of that hot glue right on top of that line on the box, and then place that bamboo piece right on top, making sure it's nice and even with the edges. Now, we're going to complete this all the way around the box, but we do want to do the opposite sides first and then the other 2 opposite sides, so this piece will overlap those 2 edges. Now, here are all of our pieces on our first round done, and we want to repeat this 2 more times. So now we have a total of 3 rounds of those bamboo skewers all the way around the top edge of the box. Now, to cover up all of those exposed cuts, I am going to take my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to use my fine tipped paintbrush to cover all of those in so it blends in nice and even. And here is what it looks like when it's all done. So now we're just going to repeat this for our black box as well. And here are our 2 boxes, all with their trims all applied, and now we're ready to decorate. And now all you have to do is add the greenery of your choice to finish these off and place them on display. Now, what a difference adding some paint and some bamboo made to these clearance boxes, and I just love this high-end look. Now, you can add any type of greenery that you like just to fit your own taste. No matter how you decorate these, no one would ever guess that these were Easter clearance boxes. Now, this project is a set of rope and twine balls. Now, we're going to need 1 3-pack of these baseballs from the Dollar Tree, and these are plastic, and we're going to need an assortment of rope and twine from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start by going ahead and unpackaging all of those baseballs, and then I'm going to start off with my natural cotton rope. So I just want to cut apart that little clasp holding it together, and then cut that tape at the end. Now I'm going to be unraveling this into 3 separate strands. Now, in order for your ends not to get too frayed, I am going to add a piece of tape on each end to avoid this. And then I'm just going to continue to unravel the entire length of the rope until it is all done into 3 separate pieces. So now I'm going to grab one of the balls and I'm going to start applying my rope. So I like to cut off the end till it's nice and even, apply a little hot glue. I'm just going to wave it around, cool it down a little bit, and twist it in place. Now, use some silicone fingers if you like, and I just do this really quick so it doesn't bother me. So I just add a dab of hot glue to the center top of that baseball, and I'm just going to start wrapping it around in a circle and adding hot glue in small sections as I go. Now you want to continue this all the way around until that rope runs out, and here we are at the very end. So once we reach the end of the rope, we're going to go ahead and cut that off as well. Make sure it's nice and even. Add a dab of hot glue to prevent it from fraying, and then we're going to hot glue that piece into place. So now we're going to grab our second rope. We're going to go ahead and finish this off with the hot glue as well. We're going to butt it up right next to the end, and we're going to continue wrapping this around. So now that we are at the very end, we're just going to cut it to fit. We have just a little bit left, so I'm just going to snip that off. I'm going to add some hot glue to the end of that rope. And then once we do that, I'm just going to tuck it into that little space. Now at this time, I did notice I had one of those silicone spatulas from the Dollar Tree. It was sitting there and I just didn't see it, but it worked so well for this project, so I will continue using it. And here is what one of the twine balls looks like. So for the next one, we're going to use some of this tan nautical twine rope. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and tape off the ends and unravel it into the 3 pieces. Now for this ball, I wanted the center to be a different color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a space about 1 inch wide along the middle of the ball, and I'm just going to make marks with my Sharpie. So I'm going to start at the top with that natural nautical rope, and I just want to start the same way we did with the other rope, wrapping it around in a circle and then pressing it in place with that silicone spatula as you go. Now once you get down to that first marking, we're going to seal the end of that first rope and then start with our cotton rope at the end of that. So we're just going to hot glue and press that into place as well. And we're going to continue to wrap this around until we get about 4 rounds for that inch wide area. Now you always want to start and stop where in alignment with that first piece. So then once we finish that piece of rope, add that second piece of your natural nautical rope, and then we want to continue this all the way down to the bottom. And of course, when we get to the bottom, add that last little piece of hot glue in there, and we want to make sure we press that in there really good and make sure it's sealed. And now we have our second decorated ball. Now for the third one, we are going to combine both strands. We're going to combine 1 strand of the cotton and 1 strand of the tan twine rope. And again, just starting at the top and starting to wrap around in that circular pattern. Now you just want to add it in little small sections, pressing it along as you go. And as you can see, it is forming a little swirl. You do want to make sure your rope doesn't get twisted. And then once you get to the end, just go ahead and add that hot glue, press it in there, get it nice and sealed. And we have our third and final piece. Now I really love how these are turning out. And here are all of my twine balls on display, and I think they turned out really great. Now I have mine sitting on top of an 8-inch wreath from a previous DIY, but you can place them in a bowl or a tray too. Now I love all of these textures in these, especially the savings. I mean, these can be quite expensive in the stores. You guys have to let me know, how would you display these decorated twine balls in your home? Now this project is a wood look set of candle holders. Now we are going to use 2 of these candle holders from the Dollar Tree. Now this is a really simple project. Now all we're going to do to get the wood look is we are going to use some of this Waverly Antique wax. And we're also going to use a chip brush. Now this chip brush combined with the wax really gives it a nice cool texture, and it really is reminiscent of a wood look. And I did want some wood pieces to accompany my modern farmhouse look, and we're just going to apply a few layers until we get this wood look. Now once we finish the sides, we are going to do the top. Again, we are going to go around the edges with that antique wax. You can apply a light or medium layer or a heavy layer. You just want to continue making sure you get that grainy texture, or that the texture with the grain. Now once the first one is done, we're just going to repeat this for your second one the same way, and we want to let these completely dry and do not touch them. And now once they are dry, all you have to do is place them on display. And I have added a few of a battery votive lights inside. Now I love that the way that the antique wax gives the wood-like texture on these pieces, and it looks amazing with the soft glow of those votive candles. Now, if you don't want votive candles, you can definitely use something like succulents in the Dollar Tree to make them as mini planters too. I really hope that you all are enjoying these crafts so far, but I wanted to pop in really quick and let you all know that you could follow me on all of these platforms as CraftDee. So now let's jump right into that next DIY. Now this project is a set of farmhouse vases. Now I'm going to be using 1 floral vase from the Dollar Tree and 1 of these tall milk vases from the Dollar Tree. Now for the milk vase, I'm going to give it 2 coats of this satin white spray paint by Krylon. And for the flower vase, I'm going to give it 2 coats of satin black spray paint by Krylon. So once everything dries, we can start embellishing. So I'm going to start with the white vase. Now I did want to give it a little bit of a rustic look. So I'm taking some black acrylic paint, and there's this little circle with the number 1 on the front. I'm just kind of highlighting that. Not sure what the 1 is for. If you guys know, let me know in the comments below. But I'm highlighting that, and I'm also going to add that black acrylic paint around the top edge of the vase. And also when that's done, I'm going to add it around the bottom of the vase just to give it a little accent. So here is that vase all nice and painted, and I'm loving how that clean, fresh look. Now once it dries, we are just going to keep it really simple with this vase, and all we're going to do is to add some black and white checkered ribbon. So I'm just going to cut a piece long enough just to tie a really simple bow. This is a bow that you would kind of tie your shoes like. So I'm just going to tie a little bow around the neck of the vase just to give it that really cute, simple look. Now I wanted to keep my tails pretty long on this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim those down a little bit and then give it that standard dovetail cut at the very end. And there you have it. You have a really simple but cute little vase. Now I am going to be using some greenery for this, and I picked up these greenery bundles from the Dollar Tree. This was my first year actually finding these, and I'm going to stick that in the vase, and that is it to make this cute vase. Now for the black vase, here it is in black satin. I think it turned out really nice. Now for this one, I have a strand of wood beads that I'm going to tie around it. Now I picked up beads from Amazon, and I made this strand just with some cotton twine. Really easy. I just tied knots on the end. So I'm just going to wrap that around and twist it together. And then I'm also going to take the same bundle of that greenery from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to add it to this vase as well. I'm just going to fold up the end so it fits nicely inside of there. And there you have it. How cute is that? I'm just going to go ahead and stick that in there as well. And that is it to make these super sweet set of vases. Now I was so surprised to find this taller vase at the Dollar Tree, and of course their floral vases are always a signature favorite. Now you can choose the beading, you can choose ribbon, or you could even make little hang tags. That would be really super cute on these as well. Now these are so super easy, and I hope that you give them a try. Now this project is a modern long tray. Now we're going to need 2 of the wood crates from the Dollar Tree and some wood tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. So starting off with those tumbling tower blocks, we're going to start by joining 4 blocks together. Now 2 will be along the bottom, and the other 2 will be at the end in the upright position. So first of all, just join your 2 pieces at the bottom first, and then add one of those other ones sitting upright to form an L, and make sure this piece is sitting up on its side. So it'll kind of look like a U shape when you put these together as shown here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to make 4 of these 4 block sets, and here they are all ready to go. Now the next set of blocks we're going to join together is a stack of 2. Now we're going to be making 4 stacks of 2 blocks. So now we can start building our support base for our tray. So I'm going to try to space apart those U shapes, and I'm going to be putting a block in between each of them, along with 1 block on each end as shown here. So now all I'm going to do is start joining these together. Now I'm going to press them firmly in the center, making sure they meet in the center where that seam is. Again, I do say that you use regular wood glue for this, since this will be a supporting project. I'm using wood hot glue, but use wood glue if possible. So here's all those pieces joined together, and now you want to put 2 pieces on the end upright to form that L shape. So I'm putting one on one end and one on the other with that glue, and just press and hold it until everything is bonded. Now this support is great as it is, and this will actually work stopping here, but I wanted to add some feet to mine. So I'm taking those double block sets and I'm going to put one on each corner at the bottom. So again, I'm going to add my glue there, and I'm just going to press very firmly in place to make sure that those legs are equally spaced apart in each one of the 4 corners. Now here's the piece all put together, but I noticed I did want an additional double block set to put in the center just for added support. I just want to make sure that this is as sturdy as possible. And there you go, this piece is all assembled and put together. So now I'm just taking my 2 crates and test fitting it, and everything fits perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is take those crates, and I want to go ahead and paint these. I'm going to be using my black acrylic paint to paint my crates. Now you can stain these as well, but I decided to flip it around and do black crates this time. So I'm going to go ahead and apply one nice coat of that black acrylic paint to the inside and out of both of my crates. Now I'm also going to paint 4 of some scrap craft sticks to cover up the holes on the inside as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that at this time too. Now just let those completely dry. Now while those are drying, I'm going to take my stand. So I'm going to go ahead and take my antique wax and add a little bit more there and mix it with some water, so I'll be able to go ahead and just stain my little frame this beautiful brown color. Now I'm going to apply it with my paintbrush all over. I'm going to start by adding it on the top and then flipping it over and adding it to the bottom. Now here's my piece all nice and stained, ready to go. You can do any touch-ups if needed, but let this sit to completely dry. And now both of our pieces are all nice and dry, and here's the frame, and here are the 2 crates. Now the first thing we're going to do with the crates is we're going to go ahead and take those scrap pieces of craft stick that we painted and go ahead and just put 2 dots of glue on either side of that hole and press that craft stick right over it. It should cover up that holes. Just do that for all 4 of those holes, and once those are all covered, you can go ahead and just put those crates together inside that holder, and that is it for this project. Such a beautiful result. And there you have it, a beautiful modern piece to display just about anything that you want. The project is a natural framed candle tray. We'll need 2 of these signs from the Dollar Tree. We'll need 16 of these Dollar Tree Jenga style blocks, and we'll need 16 of these craft sticks from the Dollar Tree. Now what we're going to do is lay out our Sure Bonded silicone mat and grab our blocks. Now what we will be doing is we will be taking a straight edge and our wood stick hot glue, and we're going to be bonding 2 pieces end to end as shown here until we have 8 sets of those 2 blocks. Now once you have your sets of 2, we're just going to put them right on top of each other and stack them and hot glue those together as well. Make sure that both sides are nice and even when we do glue them. So now we have our sets of blocks, and we're going to grab our craft sticks. Now we're going to place a craft stick right on top of each edge and just mark and trim it down. Now you could use a solid dowel or a solid square dowel for this, but I was trying to create a method that'd be a lot easier, that you could use craft sticks and Jenga blocks to make it look like one solid piece instead of 4 individual blocks. So you do want to use the craft sticks from the Dollar Tree that come in the 60 packs and not the 100 packs, because the 60 packs have larger craft sticks and they will cover all of the blocks. So you're just going to trim them down to size and adhere all 4 sides with the craft stick, adding that glue to there to make sure everything is nice and secure. Now once everything is trimmed down, and this is what one of your pieces or columns will look like, and you just want to repeat this until you have 4 covered columns. So now we're going to work on our signs and remove them all from the packaging. Now we're going to take one of the signs and we are going to remove that insert, and we're also going to be removing all of those tacks and pins that hold that insert into place. We also want to remove the hanger that's on the bottom. Now this piece is ready to go, and we'll set it to the side. Now for the second one, all we want to do is we want to remove that insert, and we're just going to flip it around to the other side. Now we want the side we will be using to be the blank side. Now we also want to remove the hanger from this piece as well. So now we can assemble our candle tray. We're going to take our 4 columns and we want to sit one in each corner of the piece with that flipped insert. Now once they're lined up and you're happy with it, go ahead and take your Surebonder wood stick hot glue and place one even at each corner. Now this will be a lightweight piece. There won't be a need to add any screws with this, and that wood stick hot glue should hold them very well. Now once all 4 of those pieces are in place, you want to take your other frame and you just want to line it up with all 4 of those posts nice and even. And then add a generous amount of that wood stick hot glue to each corner and sit it on the top, making sure everything is aligned. And here is our boxed frame ready to go for our candle tray. So now you can decorate with whatever elements that you like. I have some white rocks here. I have some seashells just in case you want to do a beach theme. You can use your candle holders and some tea light candles and greenery. You can deck it out however that you like. And here we go. We have our candle tray all put together and I really love it. Now I was going for a really clean and natural look for this piece, and it perfectly fits in with my other creations today. And this would look amazing with a beach theme as well, and you could even cut and add frosted chopping mats to the side openings for a soft lantern-like glow. It is a set of modern vases. Now I'm going to use 2 vases from the Dollar Tree for this project in different sizes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and first of all, go ahead and prime it with a coat of my Zinsser 123. Now once that dries, this is what they will look like. Now for this, I do want to put a kind of diagonal line across the vase to give it a nice modern, fresh look. So again, I'm taking some of my painter's tape and I'm making that line. Now it may be a little bit challenging to make it curve a little bit and you may get wrinkles in the tape, but trust me, it does work well. You just have to be patient. And so I'm just going to wrap it around in a little diagonal, and I want to make sure that the ends meet up in like a V at the very end, and you want to make sure that that connection is nice and even. Now you want to go ahead and repeat this for your second vase as well. Now if it does not quite meet up, you can always tear it and reapply it. It's really easy to work with and it doesn't damage your painted surface. So now I'm going to go ahead and take that paint, give it a good mix, because this is the 3rd project, so it's probably been sitting out a while, so you want to give it a good mix to make sure everything is good to go. I'm going to take my chip brush and I am going to apply that paint along the bottom half of each one of my vases, and as you can see, it is forming that beautiful texture. I am actually really loving this as it's coming along. It really looks like a textured cement. Now you want to repeat this for your other vase as well, and then you want to let these sit to completely dry. So here are both of my vases. They have completely dried, and we want to carefully remove that tape, revealing that nice crisp line. And here are both of my vases ready to go. So of course we're going to go in with our white acrylic paint, and we're going to first paint the white surfaces, give it a nice good coat, and you just want to make sure that your strokes are nice and even, and you want to be careful along the line where your cement look and your white look comes to meet. Just be careful with your brush and just put a nice even layer on there. And you want to repeat this for your second vase as well until both of them are covered. And then finally you want to go in with that chip brush and highlight all of that texture again very lightly with your white acrylic paint, and you want to allow them to completely dry. Now that my vases are all dry, you can decorate them however you like them. Now, I found these plants at Walmart for 97 cents. I really loved how they look, and I just put one in each one of the vases. And here you have it, my two beautiful vases on display, and I absolutely love it. I'm really loving this greenery as well, paired with these vases. And we have so much beautiful texture here on these, and I love how they turned out. Canvas wall piece. We're going to need two 8x10 canvases from the Dollar Tree, and we'll need a pack of these dominoes from the toy section at Dollar Tree. So we're going to start off with those canvases, and we're going to put one to the side and the other one we're going to remove from the packaging. Now I'm going to be painting this one black, so I'm just going to take my acrylic paint and I'm just going to apply it to the canvas, and I'm going to start around the outside first, just making sure that you get those corners and folds really well. Now once the outside edge is done, we can go ahead and apply the paint to the top of the canvas. You just want to make sure you apply one nice even layer. And once that's done, let it sit to the side to completely dry. Now while that's drying, we are going to work on our dominoes, so go ahead and grab your wooden domino set. Now you're going to remove it from the packaging. You'll notice one side has cardboard and one side has wood. So what we're going to do is take our Waverly Antique Wax, and we will be applying it to the wood side of our dominoes. Just apply a nice even layer and make sure you get around those edges as well. Now here are all of our domino pieces, all nice and stained and ready to go. So once those dry, here are all of our domino pieces, and we're going to go ahead and grab our canvases. The black is nice and dry, and then here is the white one. We're just going to leave this as is, as it came out of the package. Now what we're going to start to do is to put a design with those dominoes on the canvas. Now I decided to go with a kind of angled arrow design, staggering those dominoes down the side, but I did experiment with a few different designs, but this is the one I think I want to go with. So I did try two lines. I wasn't really feeling that design, so I went ahead and stuck with my arrow. So we're going to start by adding that first domino at the bottom center, and make sure you use a ruler if you don't know where the exact center is. Just apply hot glue to the back of that domino and place it right exactly in the center of the bottom of your canvas. Now we're just going to lay out the other dominoes in place before we start to adhere any other ones, because we want to make sure that they're all going to be nice and even. So now we're just going to start working our way up the canvas on each side of that center domino, just making sure each one of those dominoes is placed nice and even with the one on the opposite side. And here are all of our dominoes in place. I'm loving this look, so now I'm just going to repeat it for my black canvas as well. Now here are both of my canvases with those dominoes in place. I am loving the contrast here. It looks so awesome. And there's so many ways that you can style this piece. And so here is how I have chosen to display my art pieces, and I really love how they turned out. Now I think that the wood pieces really give that retro modern feel that I was going for. Now I absolutely love being able to create DIYs in so many different styles for you guys, and I really hope that you have fun with these projects. Now as always, I love them all, but let me know in the comments which one was your favorite today. Listen, I hope that you guys were inspired by these creations today and will give these projects a try. Now, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, also be sure to subscribe by clicking on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.